get started in this class, Introduction to Ethical Conflicts, I thought I would just do this quick overview of the ethical theories that we are going to cover in this class. So in Canvas, you're going to see there's a link to this Prezi presentation that has all of the theories that we're going to cover here listed out in kind of a graph concept map type of form. So I'm just going to go over this pretty quickly here and just show you kind of the big picture on how this all ties together before we get started. So let me zoom in here a little bit. So we have ethical theories. That's what we're going to cover in this class. And so we ask the question, are ethical rules we live by, are they absolute? So when we make a rule to not lie or kill or steal, is that rule always in effect under all circumstances? So if we were to say no, it depends, that would bring us over here to relativism, which we cover in chapter 5. But if we say yes, when we make moral rules, there are no exceptions. And so we would come over here to absolutism. We also looked at that in chapter 5. So, but as we're going to find out, not everything is always so black and white. There's always that gray. And so one of the things I really like about this textbook is the original author, Thoreau, comes up with this term, near absolute. And so he says, exceptions are permitted only with justifiable reasons. And so if you make an exception, you got to have a really good reason. And another overall, overarching theme when we study ethics is what we do with the consequences and how we make moral determinations. Do we consider consequences or not? So if are we going to use consequences of an action? Are we going to use that in determining right from wrong? So if we were to say yes, we're going to come over here to consequentialism, which we cover in chapter 2. And then there are several kinds. We look at the consequences for whom? What about the consequences for us, ourselves only, which would be egoism, or for everyone? What's the expression that we use is the greatest good for the greatest number? And by the way, if you want to click through this on your own, there's a little video here that you'll find. It'll take you to. And then we also have another theory called care ethics, and so that's when we look at those who are closest around us, but not necessarily ourselves. That's like putting our family or putting our children ahead of our own needs. So something may not be good for us, for me personally, and it may not be good for society, but I'm gonna do what's right for my family. And so that's that kind of that sacrificial type of thing that we do. Okay, so that's, if we say yes, we use consequences in determining morality. If we say no, we don't use them. It's called non-consequentialism. And it's not that we don't care about the consequences. We do. It's just that we can never fully predict exactly what's going to happen. And so because we can't predict, the best that we can do is follow moral rules. And so keep popping back over there. I can see my screen, what position my screen is taking. Okay. So, and we have several here. We're going to look at intuition, and that's just our gut feeling. We're going to look at Kant's categorical imperative, and so we are duty bound, and we have to make rational rules. And then we have Ross' prima facie duties, his list of duties that we do. And we'll see when we get into it, there's a little bit of influence of the consequences in Ross, just a hint of it. And then we also will see, and I'm going to come out here so I'll stop bouncing over there. Kant is also on a closer end with absolutism. So he really prefers consistency. And so when we say something's wrong, it's wrong for me, it's wrong for you. You can't make yourself an exception. And so we put him over by consequentialism. And I'm missing one. Oh, it's up here. The divine command. Moral rules as determined by God's law. And so whether that's the Bible or another sacred text, We know what's right and wrong because a superior being that's all-knowing tells us what's right and wrong. So those are the basic rules-based theories that we're going to look at. And then we have this other category that I put here right in the middle, and I'm going to call this virtue ethics. Again, zoom in. It's not rules per se, it's more about character development. And we'll look at that. It says chapter 5, but it's actually chapter 4. So we'll look at that there. So that is an overall. I hope that this little explanation of this overall chart helps you as we go. And so as we're talking about the different theories and you're ever wondering which one is which and how they tie together, you may want to come back to this chart and see how they relate to each other. I hope this was helpful for you.